So I'm going to click the New Map button, and you'll see a new row has opened up there that says New Map 2 or New Map 3, whatever number you're up to. This is the same as creating a new blank Excel spreadsheet. You haven't put any content in, you haven't defined what goes in there, you've just created an outline or a framework. And I'm going to rename this map as well just by pressing the spacebar in that row, deleting that text, and I'm going to call this Reading 2020 Semester 1, for example. So I've given the map name a very explicit description, and I know what I'm looking at, and even if I open up this map 2 or 3 years later, I know what data I'm looking at and the period I'm looking at it for. So what we've done now is we've now saved essentially the Excel spreadsheet with a name, but we still haven't told GradExpert what to put in it. That is done by clicking the Edit Map Layout button. But essentially when we create a new map, this bottom section of the screen is where we define the columns and the assessments and the date periods and the pages that we're putting in the map. So by default, we have a one-page map that is labeled New Map Page. So these are the tabs at the top of the map, kind of like the tabs that you have in the bottom of Excel. And I'm just going to rename New Map Page, and I'm going to call this PM Term 1. So I've now given that map page a name because I'm only going to put my Term 1 PM data on there. Now I can add any assessment to the map by clicking the Add Assessments to Map button. This gives me the list of assessments already set up in GradExpert. So if you're creating a map for an assessment that doesn't yet exist, you'd need to go to the Set Up New Assessment area, create the assessment, and then you can add it to the map. But I said this was PM, so I'm just going to come down to my PM benchmark test, tick it, and click OK. And so what's happened now is it's on the first page, it's put in a column that says PM benchmark, and all I'm asking teachers to put in is a result called the PM level, which has already been set up for that assessment. So that's why we're talking about creating or setting up the assessments that you need first, and then including them in maps so that you can enter data. So the next step, once we've told the map what test we want, we need to say what date options or what date period this is for. So at the very least, you need the year. I'll just put in 2020. The other date options you have are a month, a term, a week, and a semester. We strongly recommend using as few date options as possible. We've seen many instances where someone has set up a map that says February 2020, Term 1, Semester 1. Now most of that is redundant. All you need is Term 1. So we would recommend using the term on its own as much as possible when you're defining your testing periods. Use semester as needed, such as for your end of semester A to E results. Use nothing except the year for NAPLAN because it's only done once per year. So I'm going to get rid of February and I'm going to get rid of semester 1. And the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make this PM benchmark data entry column editable because I want teachers to be able to type information in there. I would not make it editable if it was info such as NAPLAN data that came from a different source, or if it was PM data from last year that I don't want teachers to accidentally change. So that's why I tick this button or this box on that row that says Allow Edit. And we're done. I'll click Save and Close. There's my Reading 2020 Semester 1, so I'll just click Open Map. Looks like I've already actually got some data in there. So you can see I've got one page called PM Term 1. I have one column for PM Benchmark 2020 Term 1, and I can just put information in straight away. And you can see as I'm putting it in, the color coding behind the scenes is working out if they're below, at, or above where they should be. And we'll have a look at that in the next session.